Welcome back, everybody. This is Tucker. Let's talk weather. I'm tracking not one, but two severe weather outbreaks in the next week. I'm going to break down the timing and specific threats you need to plan around, and I'll talk about why the tornado threat is so broad. Hey, everyone. Welcome back in. Hope your weekend is going really well. We got a lot to cover in this video, so if you have any questions along the way, make sure to put them in the comments. But I'm not going to waste any time. We got two severe weather outbreaks, full-on outbreaks that are expected, and we got a lot to cover, especially considering that there is going to be a tornado threat, a certain tornado threat with both of them. If we take a look at radar right now, there is some stuff out there, especially across the eastern U.S. Not seeing any severe weather at this moment, but that will soon change. So let's get to the outlooks as we start this forecast off. We're starting with Saturday, the 29th. The outlook as we head late into tonight. This will really be more so early Sunday morning. Our first round of storms, that'll pop up especially across portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. It's a low tornado, damaging wind, and large hail threat. There is the potential for storms as far north as Des Moines and as far south as Dallas, even into portions of central Texas. So this is where things start. But as you can see, as we move into Sunday, especially once we get to the mid to late afternoon through the evening, even overnight, this is where the worst of our severe weather will be. And by the way, I'll update this in the comments if it happens, but I would not be shocked if we do see an upgrade somewhere in the middle of our level 3, that orange coloration risk right there. But what we're looking at right now is a risk that'll extend from Detroit down to the Gulf Coast, more or less. So this is going to be a very wide-reaching severe weather system. We have a very broad warm sector, so everything in here has the potential to see storms because temperatures will be so high. We got a lot of wind energy too, and I'll show you that in a second. But I want to show you the tornado threat especially is going to be highest basically from northern Mississippi and eastern Arkansas, all the way into southern Indiana. That area shaded in yellow could be some strong tornadoes in there for sure. If we take a look at our damaging wind threat, you're seeing this extends right through the heart of that risk. Large hail, more or less the same thing, but the hail risk will be a bit greater farther south where there is more instability. So that's your Sunday risk right there. Then we move into Monday, and we're still not done with severe weather yet. Here's our threat for Monday, and this extends all the way to the East Coast. So like I said, it's a very broad severe weather risk. This will actually be as far north as even portions of New England, mostly just the western portions of New England, and all the way down to the Gulf Coast pretty clearly. You can see how far south that goes. So we're looking at a threat that is going to encompass most of the eastern U.S., and the East Coast here. This threat on Monday is going to be greatest for damaging wind, but tornadoes, especially the farther south you are a certain possibility. Large hail, especially farther south, is a possibility too. So all three risks are possible with each of these days, though I'll tell you right now, Sunday is the most concerning. So I'm going to break down the timing next. And we're going to talk about when you should be planning for storms and how you should be planning too. Hey, if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so. I'll keep you ahead of the storms all spring long. And if you have any questions, I'll make sure I answer each and every one of you in the comments. Our system responsible for producing severe weather is going to be right here in the central part of the country as we go through Saturday, this afternoon and evening. And you're going to see as we move into the late night and the overnight hours, some of those storms begin to pop up right here in the central part of the country. That's why we have that little higher level risk, level 2 risk out there tonight. But that's just the precursor. And you're going to see as we head into the morning on Sunday, things really begin to ramp up a lot more, really more so in the afternoon on Sunday, which is what you're seeing right here. I'll mention, by the way, if you are in some of those areas that will be impacted tonight, just make sure you have emergency alerts turned on your phone or something that will wake you up because these will be overnight storms to start with. Then on Sunday, you can see out here, this cluster of storms is going to be one of my primary concerns. That's where we're going to have a pretty decent tornado risk and damaging wind threat, but you're going to see a lot more begin to emerge as we head into the early evening as well. And you're seeing now storms, a signal at least for storms to form as far south as the southeastern U.S. Now, I do believe they're going to be a bit more isolated to scattered the farther south you look. They'll be more widespread farther north. You can see those waves of storms up here. But certainly everyone should be on watch. And here's the thing. What you're looking at now is the overnight. We're still seeing storms move Sunday night into Monday morning across a good chunk of the country, much of the eastern U.S. here. So once again, make sure you have something that can wake you up if there is a warning, especially a tornado warning where you are. As we move into the daytime here on Monday, we're going to see storms rejuvenate. That's why you're seeing them pop up a lot more here. This is especially going to be a midday and afternoon threat. After dark, these storms will break down. But you can see just how broad an area we're expecting storms to be in. And this is going to be more of a widespread outlook. It's not going to be as isolated farther south. There should be more storms that initiate. And that potential, though, you're seeing storms possibly out here around 7, 8 o'clock. That potential does really wane once the sun sets. The storms lose their energy, but certainly pretty much the entire East Coast in play here, and that severe weather threat is something to pay close attention to. And just a reminder, by the way, guys, make sure you have a place in mind that you're going to go if there is a warning. You want to get to the lowest floor of your house, a basement if you have one, and to an interior room. Just put as much space between you and the outside as possible if there's a tornado warning. And I know you might have plans during the day. Just have an idea of where you're going to go, wherever you are, if there is some kind of warning that gets issued. And of course, make sure you have a way to get those warnings too. Most of you will get them on your phones. Just make sure emergency alerts are turned on. It's really for your safety, and it's a really good thing to have. Now on to the next threat, which is going to come as soon as Tuesday, April 1st and continue through Thursday the 3rd. Here's our risk for Tuesday the 1st. Already this little area painted by the Storm Prediction Center that is going to expand based on data that I've already seen. And I am concerned about the potential for wind, hail, especially tornadoes with this one, in fact. So I would expect, again, if you're in many of the same areas, basically the Kansas City area, and a little bit farther north, in fact, to begin to see this second risk begin to come into view here by Tuesday next week. Then we get into Wednesday. Here's our risk for Wednesday. Once more, many of the same areas in play here. We already have that level 2 risk in yellow. We got the level 3 risk out here in orange, and that is pretty high confidence, actually, from the Storm Prediction Center several days out, and for good reason too. And I'll show you the Futurecast radar look. From what I've seen, this could be a tornado outbreak, and I don't say that lightly. There is a lot of wind energy here. There is a lot going for severe storms. There is still time for it to trend down, but you really should have this on your radar at least here. And I do expect that we don't have an outlook from the Storm Prediction Center yet. I do expect we're going to see an area once again painted in the eastern U.S., something out here, at least a level 2 risk, to come out pretty soon as this entire threat shifts to the east, heading into Thursday the 3rd as well. Another forecast tool we can use is from Colorado State University, their machine learning forecast. And what you're seeing is here on Tuesday, there's your signal for severe weather in the middle of the country. Wednesday the 2nd, that severe weather outlook, at least the data coming in, is very significant for an outbreak. And here we are on Thursday, and even Friday, there are 2 hints here of potential severe weather to continue. We'll see what happens on Friday, but Thursday, I do want to point out again, that is what I am interested in for another day with severe weather possibilities, especially across the eastern third of the U.S. So here's what we're up against with that next threat. You're going to see our jet, actually with this first storm system, those pink colors in the middle of the country. Again, enough to stay in severe weather, and you're seeing this right here. That's your jet stream bringing the wind energy component of our storms. And it's a strong jet. It's the reason we have severe weather. But what I want to show you is next week's jet, which by comparison is much stronger and more broad. And what you're seeing here, there's your jet here Tuesday, late at night, moving into Wednesday. That's going to really begin to strengthen as we head into Wednesday. And that's why our severe weather threat is quite significant. I mean, that's a different ballpark level of wind energy being inserted into this system. And so that's why next week I am more concerned about the threat for storms, particularly tornadoes here. And that jet remains pretty active, as you can see here, on Thursday and possibly Friday. We'll need to wait and see what happens with this ridge here. That could throw a wrench in our severe weather, which would be a good thing, of course. Now, I also want to show you the instability. This gives us an idea of what the chances are at enough instability for storms. And wherever you're seeing those gold colors, that's easily enough instability out there. This is our setup right now, and that's why it's so broad, because the tornado threat's broad too, because you have a lot of instability out there taking over a good portion of real estate. But as we move this into Tuesday, here's where that instability begins to go up again, as that front comes in, as that system, I should say, comes in. And as we head into Wednesday next week, you can see once again, that's a very broad area of instability, and the reason that storms will be possible and severe weather very possible as well. Thursday, the instability crawling up much of the East Coast, so still a lot of people in play. And then Friday, we'll see here. Again, there's a sign that there may be some instability still lingering, and we'll have to keep an eye on that potential that this threat gets extended for another day too. But we'll wait and see what the data says there. I'll show you the timing on this as well. And as we take a look at our future radar, once again, you're going to see some of the same stuff we were looking at previously. Let me actually get us a more extended look here. And one of the things you're going to notice with future radar too is just how many storms are going to be popping up here next week. There's our system right now. We're moving this into Tuesday, and on Tuesday, you're seeing those storms pop up in the middle part of the country here late at night. There they are. You can see them across that area that's already outlined by the Storm Prediction Center, right around Kansas City. And then as we move into Wednesday, look at just how many storms emerge, and look at how broad they are. Could be 2 waves of strong to severe weather out there across portions of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and those storms extend all the way from the Great Lakes region down to well, close to the Gulf Coast. So that's Wednesday, and that's a strong signal for severe weather, of course, given our future radars picking up on it too. And then just depending on how quickly that front gets out here, here's your Thursday. Storms still kind of linger, especially across the eastern Mississippi River Valley into the Tennessee River Valley. And then moving into Friday, do we get another round here? We'll wait and see. It's a possibility, and you'll want to check back for updates on that. A couple other notes, by the way, there is going to be a persistent fire weather risk across New Mexico and western Texas, so be mindful out there. We can get wildfires when these systems move through and generate a lot of wind. And we also have the potential for some heavy snow along the U.S.-Canadian border with both of these storm systems coming in. So I'm talking states like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. Those states I'll be watching, and especially with the next one, I'll be watching the potential for some heavy snow. We're focusing on severe weather, but I'm not going to leave you guys out either. So as we get closer, I'll give you an update on how much snow may fall. With this one, there could be 3 to 6 inches if you're right on the border there. Most of this will stay out of the country because we're getting warmer, but it is something else to make note of. In the meantime, guys, stay weather savvy, stay safe. Check back here as I will likely be doing some severe weather live coverage on YouTube and on TikTok as well. And again, you'll want to check back for updates. I'll be watching this closely, and ask any questions you have in the comments. I'm happy to get back to each and every one of you there. I'll see you next time.